We like to think we know our own bodies pretty well. But what if I told you there's a hidden communication system running inside you, right this second? A secret language that isn't spoken with words, but with light.
I mean, just think about this for a second. It's a truly mind-boggling question. Your body is this incredible symphony of about 37 trillion individual cells. How on earth do they all work together? How does your body manage to coordinate unbelievably complex processes instantly across every single one of them?
Now, the answer we all got in biology class was always chemical signals, molecules and receptors passing messages around like a runner with a note. But here's the catch. That's just way too slow. It can't explain some of the most basic, fundamental processes of life. So science knew there had to be something else going on.
So let's dive into this mystery. What exactly is this instant messenger that our bodies are using?
Okay, so this slide really lays out the core issue. On one side, you've got your chemical signals. They're super important for sure, but they're local. They have to physically travel from point A to point B. But then you have these biological processes, like protein folding, that happen practically instantaneously. To explain that kind of speed, you need a communication network that's on a whole other level, something much, much faster.
And this is where it gets really wild. This brings us to a discovery that, frankly, is mind-blowing. It's a clue that changes pretty much everything we thought we knew about biology. The answer, believe it or not, is light. Every single living cell in your body right now is emitting these ultra-weak particles of light called biophotons. It's this constant, steady glow of life itself, a phenomenon that scientists call ultra-weak photon emission.
And look, this isn't some new age idea. It's actually grounded in a century of solid science. A Russian scientist named Alexander Gurwitch first suspected this way back in the 1920s, but it took until the 1970s for a German biophysicist, Fritz Albert Popp, to build equipment sensitive enough to actually measure this light, proving it was real and giving it the name biophoton. So you're probably wondering, why haven't I ever seen this? Well, it's because this cellular light is incredibly faint. We're talking about 1,000 times less intense than the dimmest light our eyes can possibly detect. It's like we've been living inside this amazing light show our whole lives without ever even knowing it was there. So, the million-dollar question is, where is this light even coming from? Well, research points to the most fundamental molecule of life itself. The main source of your body's biophotons is the DNA, coiled up tightly inside the nucleus of every single one of your cells. Your very own genetic code is broadcasting information as light. How cool is that? Okay, so our DNA is emitting light. Fine. But how does that faint glow turn into a full-blown communication system? How does it actually carry information? Well, let's go back to our little comparison here. Where chemical signaling is slow and local, biophotonic signaling can be instant and system-wide. Why? Simple. It moves at the speed of light. It's the difference between sending a letter in the mail and sending a fiber optic email. One takes time, the other is immediate. And what's amazing is that our bodies seem to be perfectly designed for this. Our tissues aren't just bags of water. They have this highly ordered structure, almost like a liquid crystal. And that structure acts as a perfect semiconductor, letting these light-based signals travel through the body super efficiently, with almost no resistance. Now, how does the information travel without getting all jumbled up? The key idea here is something called a soliton. Think of a soliton as a perfect little data packet. It's this stable wave that holds its shape and its energy as it zips through the body's network. It delivers its message completely intact without getting distorted. It's basically a perfect system for high-speed, high-fidelity data transmission. So when you put all these pieces together, what you get is an incredible body-wide biological internet. And the process itself is just beautifully elegant. It's really just 2 steps. First, our cells take the energy we get from food and convert it into this organized, coherent light. Then that light, carrying all that precious information, is transmitted throughout the entire system. So where are the main power plants for this whole network? You might guess the brain or something, right? But the primary generators are actually our muscles. They make up 40 to 50% of our body mass, and they are packed with mitochondria. It's our muscles that are generating the bulk of the electromagnetic energy needed to power this entire communication grid. So how does the signal get around? Well, it looks like there are 2 main transmission networks. You've got the myofascial system. That's the web of connective tissue that surrounds every muscle and organ. That acts like a broad semiconductor network, kind of like the body's Wi-Fi.
And then you have a more specialized network called the Primo Vascular System, or PVS. This thing seems to function like a dedicated biological fiber optic cable designed for really high-speed, protected signal transmission.
Okay, so let's just take a step back for a moment. What does all of this mean? The implications of seeing our body not just as a chemical machine, but as a coherent light-based system, well, they're absolutely profound.
I mean, this isn't just some minor scientific detail. It offers a whole new way of looking at some of the biggest questions out there. It could totally deepen our understanding of brain activity, and maybe even consciousness itself. It points to the quantum origins of health and disease, and it might even give us a real scientific framework for understanding ancient practices like acupuncture, which are thought to work along the body's energy pathways.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers who are deep in this field put it best themselves. They say this is the big gate to a new era of scientific understanding, to a whole new scientific paradigm. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we understand life itself.
So, we're left with this final thought. It turns out we're literally beings of light, communicating inside ourselves at a speed and complexity we're only just starting to wrap our heads around. So the question isn't if our bodies have a secret language anymore. The real question is, if your body truly is a symphony of light, what are you just now beginning to hear?